Our first guest this season is author Alicia Couri. Throughout the season, Alicia will be joining us to provide tips from her book, Age Younger, on how to look and feel younger no matter what age you are. Well, welcome to the show. This is very exciting. You're going to be with us for the next 13 weeks.
Yes,
talking
I'm
about
excited.
Your fabulous book, which I loved.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I'm sure that our viewers will once they get to know you and know what it's about. So please tell us how you came to write the book. What inspired you?
I am someone in the beauty industry, Nancy, and for decades, women have asked me.
Decades?
Decades. I've been in the beauty industry for decades. And women, I see a lot of women, and they always ask me, what is my secret? Because when they find out that I have children, and my oldest will be 20, and a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old, they always ask me, well, what do you do? What are your secrets? You look like you're 20 yourself. How do you do? How does that happen?
Do you still get carded?
I do, actually. It's crazy, but I do. At 48, I'm still getting carded.
Oh my gosh.
So, yes. So they asked me what my secrets are, and 2 years ago I sat down and started thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe I'll start writing down some tips, and I started doing some research and realized that there's something there.
Absolutely. There's something for everybody in there. What do you find are the most important elements that you feel will help you age gracefully?
Well, the first chapter of the book, this is why I made it the first chapter, it's about thought and the inception of a thought. And so I think that the way you think and the way you speak about aging and yourself has a huge impact on aging gracefully.
And you know, that goes along with, again, anything that you think. I mean, we all have worries.
Yes.
And we all get angry at things, but you have shown us in your book how to kind of let that go and how negative thoughts really
affect and impact you. Yes. And one of my favorite movies is the movie Inception. And Inception, they go into the subconscious mind. It's a really detailed movie. You have to concentrate. But what they do is they implant a thought in its inception, in its beginning, so that beyond that you start acting and doing things differently. So I want you to really consider, what is the inception? What is the first thought that you had of aging? A lot of us looked at parents or grandparents, and and 20 years ago, people looked older than they do now.
Absolutely.
You know, they acted older than they do now. So when you look at the inception of that thought, maybe as a child you looked at someone in their 60s and thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be, I'm going to be old, I'm going to be wrinkled, and so that kind of translates, and as you get older, you speak those things. Okay.
Now you mentioned in the first chapter there, Dr. Carolyn Hans did some research.
Leaf. Yes, Dr.
Thank
Carolyn
you, Carolyn Leaf.
Yes, she does research. She's a neuroscientist, and she does research into the structure of the brain and thought. And you can actually see toxic thoughts in the structure of the brain. And you have an opportunity to reverse those thoughts. So thoughts about aging that are toxic, like I said before, like, I'm going to be wrinkly, I'm going to be, I'm not going to have any energy to do anything, I'm going to have to walk with a cane, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. Those kind of thoughts start, translating into words. Right. And when you start translating those into words, that manifests.
Right. So first, I mean, we all know, well, we do, but we forget, I think, that it all starts from here. I mean, you start
right inside of here,
and then you start manifesting it
through speech, through the way you speak.
Yep.
And when you start talking those things become reality in your life.
I don't feel good.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, look at and it just it
perpetuates.
Right. Absolutely.
It perpetuates.
Absolutely.
And that's, again, I mentioned in the book, Dr. Hans Jenny did some research on sound waves and sand, and how, when they played beautiful music, they got these beautiful, intricate patterns, and when they played really sounds that were not acoustically pleasing, those patterns were very disruptive, and they were very, they weren't aesthetically beautiful.
Right.
And so if you consider when you speak negatively, those are disruptive sound waves
Right.
and energy, and that's what's translating into your physical being. So it's really important the way you think and the way you speak about yourself and how you age.
Okay, now-
if you haven't thought about translating that into how you age.
Okay. How do you suggest people start that?
Well, first you have to look at what you're actually thinking. So look at what it is you're thinking. What was the inception of
Right.
that thought? What was the and if it's really true, is that reality? Because if you believe it to be true, it fulfills itself.
Yes.
So if you look at it and you think, well, yeah, I thought that when I'm in my 80s or 60s or 70s, whatever age it is, I'll be in a wheelchair, I'll be frail. Well, is that really reality? Is that true?
No.
It's not.
No.
You have the opportunity now to change those things by changing those thoughts.
So change your
thoughts.
Change your
but
thoughts.
understand where it came from and how you can now make that shift.
Okay. The part that I got out of it was we know these things, but I think we've forgotten them over the years. I mean, and tying in the medical research that you do
Right.
kind of puts it in perspective for everybody.
Absolutely. I did a lot of research while I was writing the book to kind of find validation for what it is that I did just naturally. And I found a lot of research out there that backs up, that has a scientific basis that, you know, translates to
Right.
anti-aging. So it was
Wonderful.
great.
Well,
I had
this
a lot
was-
of fun.
This was great,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you next week.
Yes, I would love to come back.
Great. Thank you.
Please stay tuned. Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI will return after a short break.
Our next guest this week is Dr. Nema Runyan from Elite Health. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you.
And this is the first of a few visits, so I look forward to hearing all about what you do. And we're going to start with how to keep yourself safe and participate in your health care.
Very important.
Okay.
Both of these are very important things, and they go hand in hand. When you participate in your medical care, you're often safer, and you're more often on your way to wellness, quicker and easier.
Okay.
One of the most important things that I found in my years of practicing medicine is that medication safety is paramount. When I see people in the office, the confusion never ends. There's lots of different ways that a patient and the doctor can be confused about the medications.
Okay.
And I think it's very crucial that the patient and the doctor form a partnership. All eyes on those medications. There are two components to a partnership. One, what the patient can do for themselves to keep themselves safe, and then what the doctor does to keep their patient safe as well.
Okay.
So the first thing, though, I want to empower all of our listeners here to know their medications. They need to know the names of their medications. Oftentimes, there's two different names. One is a chemical name, and the other is the brand name. Very important. If you are ingesting anything on a day-to-day basis, putting it into your body, it is so important that you know the names, both names, so you don't get confused. So if they give you the brand name, you say, oh, that's my medicine.
Okay.
Or if they give you the chemical name, you say, that's true, I know this is my medicine.
Okay, what's the best way for somebody to keep track of that?
Well, now this is where the partnership comes in.
Okay.
When you see your primary care in the office, there is no better time than to ask, what are these medicines I'm on, and why am I on it? So ask, and keep asking. If you don't understand, or if you go home and say, oh, I'm confused about that, go back again. You can even make a visit specifically to discuss your medications and why you're on them. You know, maybe your primary is a little rushed. You can actually make a visit for medication review.
Okay, with you?
With
you,
me,
or-
with most primaries
Okay.
would welcome this. I don't know if any primary that would say not. But it's very important that you know the medication's names,
Yeah.
the doses, and the frequency that you take them.
Okay.
Now, it's very good for a patient to have actually it written down. If you're electronically savvy, you can put it on your phone.
Right.
But nothing tells a tale of your health better in a crisis situation or in a unexpected health event than to have that medication list on your person. And I tell all my patients, pen, little index card.
Right.
Here's the medicine,
Yep.
here's the dose, here's how I take it. Tells volumes about your medical history without you even having to open your mouth.
I think having it, if you, like you said, on your phone, in case of an emergency, all that information is
there.
ready, available to anybody that needs it.
For our men, inside their wallets. People go through your wallets. For our women, in our
Right.
purses,
Yeah.
if they're not in a purse, in a pocket. This is very important, I think, very important. And it's so easy to do, so easy to do, so easy to do.
Okay.
Then the next thing I think is very important is at that doctor's visit. Now, your partner is your physician. The doctor needs to have a review of your medications every single visit.
Okay.
Every single.
And when you say all medications, is that probably supplements you're taking or vitamins, like everything? They need to know everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So it's prescription medications, it's non-prescription, over-the-counter, it's supplements, because you would be surprised in the years that I've practiced, people can develop a sensitivity or an adverse effect, not really to the chemical in the pill, but the
Right.
pill, what it's made out of. Very strange. But it takes a lot of investigating. You're almost like Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my gosh.
But it's that supplement or that over-the-counter product that they never thought to tell me that's giving them the sensitivity or the rash or the stomachache.
Because how could a supplement be so detrimental, right? So these are the things you need to know.
These are the things.
Why everything that you ingest, like you said, it's your body. You need to know what's going on.
That's right, because when we put something in our body, what we have to remember is this. If it's not nature-grown food substance, any and everything may or may not cause a reaction in us. We can be allergic to it, flat out allergic in doctor speak, or we can be sensitive to it and have sensitivities to it. So thinking that something over the counter or because it's a supplement or because a doctor isn't prescribing it, it's just totally safe is a inaccurate way to think.
Okay.
Because you can have side effects and adverse reactions to anything you ingest, anything and everything. And we find that as we age gracefully, that these sensitivities
become more acute.
They can.
Or they do,
can.
or they develop out of nowhere.
They develop out, it seems like it develops out of nowhere, but it's been easing up on us. But we need to be mindful and
Right.
aware.
Yeah.
And I think that the partnership between the physician, the patient, and our pharmacist, it's also a very safe thing to get all of our medications, prescription medications at one pharmacy. That makes my job easier. That makes it safer for the patient because there's one database where any doctor that is giving and prescribing medications, when you go through one pharmacy, that pharmacy is going to have knowledge of that.
Right.
And of course, there's a written database.
And they can keep track of the interactions so that if everything's in one place, there's no confusion.
Yes.
Great. Well,
And
thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. And the more eyes on it, the better. So if the pharmacist is looking, the doctor is looking, and don't forget the patient, him or herself.
Right.
You got all eyes on what you're ingesting, what the doses are, how often. That's the way we stay medicine safe.
Awesome.
Thank
you
you.
so much,
You're
Doctor.
welcome.
It's wonderful having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. We'll return right after the break.
Our next guest is Dr. Anita Rothard, the founder of the Vocational and Life Skills Learning Day Center. Never stop learning. Nice to see you again. Now, over the last 10 years, there's been a correlation between being active and staying healthy, both mentally and physically. In your work with disabled people, have you found that the same scenario is true with them?
Absolutely, but it's true with people who consider themselves well, not disabled. I have a favorite saying, and that is, everyone gets disabled if they live long enough. And the
one
reason
way or
is
the other, right?
because we lose certain abilities that we had. So nobody is the same at 40 as they were at 19.
Right.
So as we age, we start to lose certain abilities that we used to take for granted. Balance is one of the things that goes very quickly.
Yep.
So if we can help someone maintain their balance in their daily life, they don't fall, we don't have broken hips, we have people who can be active, maybe go out dancing, enjoy some things that they wouldn't otherwise enjoy.
Right.
So balance becomes quite important.
Now, and how do you help them with that?
Well, we have a recreation program and an exercise program that deals with general fitness and with things that people need, such as balance, coordination, so that they can partake of things that life have to offer, rather than sit by and watch.
Okay, are these things that they can do at home once they're shown how to do there, or is there some machines, but there are also some exercises that they can do once they leave you for the day?
Right, we have some machines, but we have a lot of recreational programs that are social in activities, and we have some exercise programs that they could do at home, so that if they come to see us and they're in our program, say 2 days a week, they have the other days of the week they could do some of those same things at home.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's tell our viewers a little bit more about the basic foundation that you created for your program.
The program is really meant for adults who have some problems with daily living skills. Everybody might have a different problem, and so our facility is small enough that we can address each of those problems individually and create a program to help that person improve the areas that they need to be improved.
Okay, can you give us an example?
So, for example, if you have someone who has difficulty when they go to the store in knowing whether they get right change back or not, we can teach them how to figure out their change and know that they're not being shortchanged. We can help them learn to do a grocery shopping list so that they buy appropriate foods. If you have someone who, for example, is diabetic and doesn't know how to shop to keep their diabetes under control, we can certainly help them with that so that they do shopping that's better for them. Okay. So those are the kinds of life skills that we can tailor to whatever their needs are.
Okay, and when you say that tailored to their needs, so is that the premise for how you keep people engaged? You teach them what they need, but also we talked a little bit. You also teach them about what they love, like you had said to me before about they love dinosaurs.
Yes. We're going to find whatever their area of interest is. Because that's what keeps you alive and well, is if you've got something you're interested in.
Absolutely.
So we have a gardening program. So say a person is interested in roses, raising roses, or they're interested in taking seeds and growing an herb garden that they can cook. So we can help them with things like that. We try to find out what their interest is and then build a program around their interest so they stay engaged. A lot of what we do is meant for socialization because there's been study after study showing that as a person ages, they tend to give up their friends and become more isolated, and that's not healthy. It doesn't lead to a good life, it doesn't lead to a healthy life, and it doesn't lead to a longer life. So if we can increase the socialization skills, if they have a place to go that they love to go to, if they have things they can do that they love to do with other people that they enjoy doing them with, it gives them a reason to get up in the morning and get out and do something.
Well, and that's it. Just attending, they meet new people too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
that
right.
have similar interests.
That's right.
Right.
And a lot of times we meet people who say, I want to help people. Well, I'll ask them, what do you want to do? I want to help people. Well, the nice thing is, in our facility, there are always somebody else there that needs to be helped. And so they have that option of fitting in and doing what they want to do.
Okay. Now, who can attend your classes, Doctor?
Well, we say age 22 and beyond. Actually, we take them starting at age 18 under certain circumstances. circumstances. But the public schools go until age 22 with a program that's called Transition. And so we kind of transition from age 22 up. Our oldest student that we have enrolled now is 60.
Oh, wow.
And our
That's pretty young.
And I think our youngest student right now is 26. So it's a wide range.
Yes.
And because
And that's it. It's for basically all age range, you know,
Yes.
within that criteria.
well, it's meant to help the young people
Yeah.
transition to work if they're able to do that.
Yeah.
It's meant to help the people who are older stay at home as long as they can and be as active as they can.
Yeah.
It's made to relieve the mind of the parents of the young people who say, what's going to happen to Johnny when I'm not here anymore? And
Okay.
I hear that so often.
Now, there's one last question I'd like to ask you. You know, when people hear about these special programs, there's always a huge cost involved, but we talked a little bit about that. There's not such a huge cost with yours.
There really isn't. If you look at our program, you can go full-time.
Yeah.
You can go 2 days a week. You can go 3 days a week. You can even go 1 day a week. If you looked at our program overall, it runs about $10 an hour.
Which you can't get anywhere. You can't go to the movies like you said.
You can't
Couri.
hardly go to the movies anymore for a few 3 hours
Right.
and spend $30.
And this will be fun and learning. And all of this is on your website, so
Yes.
our viewers can go there, and that is
It's neverstoplearninginc.com.
great.
And there's a ton of information there. And they can also come and tour our facility and
Okay.
sit down and look for themselves. Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
me.
being here.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. To find previous episodes, go to snnTV.com under programming. See you next Saturday and Sunday at noon.